Hello and welcome to the Poorhammer Podcast, episode 86. I'm your host, Brad. This is my co-host, Eric.
How's it going?
And with us, finally out of exile from Canada, is our fantastic guest host, Bricky.
I was there for like a day.
A day longer than you were supposed to be.
That is absolutely true.
It sounded like there was some skeptical you getting back nature, so
I uploaded that video talking about that situation, and a lot of people are like, well, this is kind of your own fault, Bricky. You flew with an expired problematic passport. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it make funny story. I'm in a hell of my own making.
It's more funny to me that they let you in the country just fine. It's when you were leaving, they were like, no.
I mean, America could care less if you leave the country.
Yeah, I do think it's entertaining though, like thinking like, yeah, most of the problems I have are of my own making. That doesn't change the fact that it's still a fucking problem.
I mean, I think anyone who does any kind of online content creation can live by those words. I'm in a hell of my own making, and these flames are comforting.
All right, so since we had Bricky kindly come on to announce an interesting partnership, I figured I would give him the honor of picking the topic for the week. So Bricky, what kind of episode? I know you wanted to do something a little hard-hitting, pretty informative, something that's a little outside the norm for you from Dice Check or Adric or something.
I mean, the way you set that up sounded as if you were being sarcastic. That being said, it is informative and hard-hitting and will most likely lead to quite a bit of debate. I've always really wanted to do a Codex Art tier list. Games Workshop, despite their refusal to credit their artists, has some of the best world-making art in like ever. And 9th edition in particular was a highlight, I think, for Codex artwork. And so a little tier list of that. It sounds fun.
Ooh, a tier list. We're gonna real clickbait this, huh?
Bricky's face, tier list in all caps. What else can we add?
Is it truly a clickbait if we're actually doing a tier list?
I don't know. YouTube said that our video last week was clickbait because I didn't warn everybody off from it being a Photoshop episode, so it got mad at me.
It really did.
It really did. But that's a story for another day. Without any further ado, let's get into this.
Sounds good.
All right, but before we begin, we actually did clickbait you for just a second here to talk about our little partnership we've got going.
Yeah, I think you called it the interesting partnership, which is very sketchy, so perhaps we shouldn't be the one to talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm not very good at selling out, so Bricky, can you help?
Well, I am excellent at selling out. The wonderful gentleman here reached out to me because they said they really wanted to do merchandise, and I've got merchandise, and that sounds like a pretty good gig. So Poorhammer merchandise is now currently available at orchidate.com. It's starting off pretty simple. I love your cardboard kind of Poorhammer logo. It's really good. It adds a lot of flavor without needing much.
One day we need to do the story for that. That's a good future topic.
It's a pretty great logo, but to start off, it thought it'd be just a great thing to have, let people kind of represent the podcast, represent the channel. So to start off, there's some great new hoodies as well as some tees, black, white, green colored, some different variations, and sweatpants, because as he will most likely say, the sweatpants are ludicrously comfortable, and I am very proud of that purchase we made.
I am actually kind of jealous of the fact that Brad's wife has taken the pair that we got as like the test pair.
They don't even fit her. They're huge.
They're really, really comfortable looking. They feel nice. I was like, man, I wish I could have those, but...
Well, I know where you can get them, and it's at orchidate.com, link in the description. If you're on the homepage, there's a little tab that says content creators. They'll be there, Poorhammer Podcast. But hopefully the link should just take you directly there. And then bada bing, bada boom.
And for our simps, don't just go straight there. Read the Patreon thing. You have a discount code.
I think that's enough selling out. Let's get into this hard-hitting tier list.
All right, Bricky, so where do you want to start off? We can do these in any old order. I can shuffle them around. We can do anything we want. Where do you want to start?
Well, you moved them around already. The first one we had was AdMech, which is starting off real strong. But you know what? Let's go with one of the, what did you call them? Snowflake Marines?
Yes, the special snowflakes. Too special to have just one codex. You need two of them.
Wonderful. Let's start with one of those. those. Let's go with like the Space Wolves.
So Space Wolves, to me, is probably the second worst of the Space Marine supplements for art.
I kind of like it.
It is not my least favorite. I do not like it.
I do actually kind of like it. I just don't like it for Space Wolves. I don't know. It just doesn't like sell me on Space Wolves.
It's one where I think I'd fight you if you want to put it above C, but if you want to put it at like C tier, I'll let it not be D tier, but I almost would put it to D tier. It's one of my least favorites. I don't like the weird angle it's at and the weird fisheye lens thing.
You know, I don't like the fisheye lens. I don't like how there is no real focal point of the image. You would say the focal point's to do with the axe, but he's really small. Also, and this might be the biggest part of it all, there is not a single wolf.
Yeah, I actually do like the color, like contrasting going on. It's popping to me. I get that it wouldn't be for everybody, but I'm just like, this is a Space Wolves.
The light blue it has going for it is the best part.
Yeah, I could see people not liking it, but I like it. It stands out. But then, like you said, like, where's the wolves part?
There's no wolves.
There's not much Viking theme. There's very little flavor to it at all. There's a wolf pelt on the guys, and it's so small you don't even notice it's a wolf pelt.
I'd say their beards and haircuts and stuff kind of help with it, but again, it's so small.
It does not sell me on Space Wolves, and I say this as someone who plays against Space Wolves way too often.
Doesn't help that the Space Wolves player that we play with is the best painter, so like his looks good.
And he's custom green stuffed a bunch of wolf and bear and everything pelts onto him, and they've got their whole very strong theme, and this has nothing.
But at the same time, this is the cover to your codex. Like, this should be the judge a book by its cover.
I go with like high C. My instinct goes like top to top middle of C, but obviously that will be adjusted as we keep going.
Okay, let's move away from Space Marines for a moment. Let's do something in the Chaos area. Let's cover what I think is my least favorite Chaos Codex cover, which is Chaos Demons.
So of all Chaos, every Chaos army, you think this is the worst. You've got Death Guard, CSM, Thousand Suns, Chaos Knights, and World Eaters.
Yeah, and I think a lot of them are very strong. And I have a personal hatred of it because it shows off the worst part of the faction, the part that is part of nobody's fantasy for it. It is like everyone else is showing off like epic characters and the coolest fucking dudes. This one is showing off the 8-point model you're going to remove off the board the second a bolter points at it. It is your chaff being shown off, which makes sense in Guard. Guard does this same thing much better with the tank in the background and all that. When we get there, I don't have that same issue as I do with Chaos Demons. Where are Big Chicken? Where is Giant Demons?
It's just that Chaos Demons has so much potential for their like character coolness.
It's just so much easier to sell the faction. You just have to put a Bloodthirster. It's not even my favorite of the greater demons.
I think my issue with it is that it's a bit too directionless.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's also a mess, but you could say it's more not false advertising because of what was in the codex, but it's still ugly, right? You've got the very bright Tzeentch over on the side. Slaanesh is basically invisible in the bottom left corner.
And the Plague Bearer.
The most foreground thing is actually a pile of dead sisters, but you can't see them because it's so darkly, even on the actual physical book in front of me, it is so darkly painted that you can't even really make them out. It just looks like a corner of your book is black.
I think Demons has an unsolvable problem where you need to show off 4 separate, distinctly colored factions.
I would argue it's a very solvable problem as soon as we get Emperor's Children. AOS has solved this problem.
Oh, no, I mean, if you're doing one book, it's an unsolvable problem.
I agree.
I do agree to an extent. I think, yeah, the chaff part's annoying. I think that they try to keep it with like a red color scheme, but then they're like, throw the blue in there for the Tzeentch. Get a little bit of green in there in the center.
And the weirdest part is when you're looking at the physical book, the image on screen will be equal to this, but it's like this on the real book. The Nurgle in the middle is in like blue lighting because of the pink horror in front of him with the blue fire, but it makes the Nurgle demon look very blue. Everything about this cover aggravates me in so many different ways. And to make it worse, right? It's troop troop, non-troop, because it's not actually a bloodletter. It's a blood crusher for the back one because he is on the bowl.
Sure.
I know that's like a very minor pet peeve, but it is one that it ruins the symmetry of, oh, they're trying to show all 4 of the troops. They didn't even do that.
Eric, what are your thoughts? Brad hates this. Like, he would pipe bomb its mailbox. What is your thoughts?
It's definitely one of my least favorites. And that's because there's so much more potential. Like, there are really cool demons. That's one of the selling points is like the greater demons are cool. Those are your eye candy kind of things.
Even without the greater demons, just not the troops are more interesting. All the troops have the problem of humanoid, but with a twist. You could get screamers, you could get fiends. Well, maybe not fiends because titties scare people, but some other portion of Slaanesh, maybe a character.
So the thing that really gets me is in like the Space Wolves one, there wasn't really like a focal point. It's true in the Chaos Demons and Bricky, like you said, it's not really a solvable thing, but they could have done substantially better in making it like separate sections of the cover, basically. Like, oh, this is a battlefield, but like, oh, this section is Zeech. This section, you know, like, I don't know. And I think they tried to do that and just failed.
I really do think it's one of those problems that's just really difficult because the 8th edition Demons Codex is just a bloodletter. That's all it is. And it's not bad. It's all right.
It's a very safe one, but it bothers me less than this. If the new one had just been really gross picture of like some type of plague bearer, I'd be like, cool, maybe in 10th edition, when they totally invest into this army to get, you know, a couple grand worth of art, they'll get us a new codex cover that'll be yet another demon.
Yo, yeah. So speaking of 10th edition codex covers,
right.
Yeah. That was not bad. Yeah. So what I forgot to mention, yeah, we're doing a 10th edition Codex Art tier list, which is only somewhat true because that Marine one did have a different picture, but it's basically the same.
Oh, that's BS. It's A, basically the same, and B, it was 9th edition promo art. It's not like it was new. And they just got flambéed by the AOS community for pulling the same stunt with AOS 3rd edition, recycling all the same covers for the battle tomes.
Which I hate because, like Bricky said, they have good art. And fuck them for not attributing their artists, but there is good art that they have access to.
And it's not like we can say that, well, it's a small company, not much profit to be made. This is a very expensive endeavor for them. This is like bog standard basic stuff for a multi-billion-dollar company to buy some freaking art. WotC buys like 3,000 new arts a year.
These codex covers are like maybe $2,000 to $3,000 each in terms of like artwork fidelity to hire the artist.
And that's nothing.
Yeah, which is like expensive to you and I, but literally pennies to them.
And at a certain point, like the amount of money that you're going to spend physically printing a book and logistically sending it out dwarfs that investment. It's basically nothing.
I genuinely believe that the amount of people who would buy this codex for the artwork alone as a collector's item on their shelf would outpace the $2,000, $3,000 cost by like an exponential amount.
I mean, that's something that me and Brad have talked about at length of like, don't sell rules. It's fine to sell codexes, but they should be art books and a collector's thing.
Make them a collector's item. You can make the special gold leaf extra super deluxe edition, $300 US, only available for 10,000 copies, and it will get snapped up first day every codex. But keep your rules free, keep them digital so they're easy to edit when they need editing. You can fix up your game as you see fit, and then sell these as amazing collector items. I'm stupid enough that I would buy one for every one of my armies still. I'd feel less shitty about buying it too, so I wouldn't complain about it to everyone afterwards.
Really, there's a lot of people that have old codexes that they keep them around. They're not playing 7th edition, but hey, why not keep it around because it's a collector item kind of thing. So there is no reason not to put the time, effort, and resources into doing this right.
Right. So now let's go back to smashing this art that they paid for and did a good job hiring someone to do. D tier.
I will say, I think there's a saving grace in which that the artwork itself, the creatures look incredible.
I'll give you that. It's one of my favorite depictions of a pink horror.
Yes, I love him doing the rock-on symbols, and you can even see the individual bolts
Yes.
being held in stasis. It's really cool. I can't put this in D, even though it is D for demons.
I will let you move it up to C. It may go down to D later when we're doing final adjustments. Again, I don't think like it's an untalented piece of art. I think it's a directionless piece of art. I think we should separate the like, this is garbage art, this is bad art, and this is terrible art direction, and is bad for the goal of the piece of art and where it's being used in your sales.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. The individual aspects of the art are good. So I'm good with putting it in C, but let's move on. I want to make a choice this time.
I knew it. Well, speaking of dwarfing, Eric, what do you got for us?
Votan.
Let's go.
I very much was going to just be like Aeldari, but no.
What do you think about Votan, Eric?
I don't like it. I kind of hate it.
Okay, I think Votan suffers from being a Space Marine codex. If you put most of the Space Marine arts, Space Wolves aside because it has framing issues, most of those Space Marine arts together, all of them are the exact same art direction. They all got the exact same page with a different, here's the guy you're drawing. Grey Knights, Black Templars, Leagues of Votan, generic Space Marine, Blood Angels are all the exact same picture.
And I think out of all of them, this is one of my least favorites on just how it was executed.
Yeah, it's a little weird because he's a chunky lad. Boy, did they make him fat.
Which is fine. Like, that's part of Votan to a certain aspect. But
I don't think they need to look like they're 6 times wider than they are tall.
I'm okay with the chunkiness of him because it looks like they're going for kind of like a power lifter kind of vibe, like a Zangief vibe.
Sure, I'm getting wide Putin vibes, but I'll take Zangief.
Well, you know, they are both Russian. I think my issue, and this might be a really bizarre complaint, I don't like how the call is yelling. For such a stoic, like brooding faction,
Yeah.
I almost kind of wish we would have gone with something a little bit like less busy and like more muted and slow.
The more angry old man
yeah.
tone, like the more going in the book type classic fantasy dwarf tone.
The dwarf right below him on the bottom left is like perfect to me.
Yeah, that's actually, to me, one of the problems with the art, is I keep looking down at the one in the foreground instead of the centerpiece I should be looking at. Something about the way the lighting's working or something, I'm not very good at art, keeps drawing my eyes down to him instead. And he's amazing looking, but it's not the goal of the piece.
And now that you bring that up, I think that's why I don't like it as well, is because I like the front one that you guys are talking about. I also like the guy back with the hammer. That's cool. The main guy, is fine.
He is the problem, but here's the thing. I don't hate this nearly as much as I hate the last two we talked about. I honestly think this is a normal middle-of-the-road B tier.
I'd probably go bottom of B because we should keep it on the short end. But I will say, you know what kind of saves it besides that one guy right there? I love the gigantic face in the background.
I don't get it.
A lot of their ships have representations of the Votan core, like faces kind of etched into them. And it's just like the way their ships look sometimes. And I just think it's really baller.
As an extra aside, while we're wailing on GW in this episode, wear Space Dwarf book. I really want to love this faction and get into their lore. They came out with zero...
That is an honestly super shocking thing for you. 1, asking for dwarfs, and 2, asking for Space Marines.
No, remember, Eric, my brother hates dwarves. I hate elves. I just play space elves for some reason.
I hate elves also.
I at least play Drukhari. I play the fun elves.
No, I do agree with you, though. Like, there should be plenty of opportunity for cool stories for the Votan. Like, they were separate from the Imperium. What's going on?
The Votan Codex lore, it's like incredibly good.
Yeah, I got recommended to read it by... I think it was just random YouTube comments in one of our episodes when I mentioned I didn't really know much about it. I ended up legally acquiring a Votan Codex.
Right.
And read through the lore and it was really good. And I was like, this is annoying because now I'm like, where's the book? Just give me a story. I want to get into this faction a bit here and like feel attached to them, but I've got snippets.
Is there a place I can put art, like a piece of art to show off?
Yes, you can paste it into the show notes now, and now Berilio will be able to grab it out of the show notes that are shared with him, and that way it can appear on screen. You closed the show notes, didn't you?
No, I refreshed it, but I can't seem to...
Oh, when I changed the permissions, it might have been weird. Hang on. You should have access. Your anonymous giraffe. Or someone else is in here. That'd be real spooky. So you copy with Control-C.
No, don't you dare.
And then
Oh, there we go. So Control V wasn't working, but I had to right-click paste it.
Whatever you say, Grandma.
Anyway, there's the link. That's an artwork of the Votann that I think is way better for the Codex cover.
Yes, that is cool.
Oh, absolutely. I loved that art. That was one of the first splash arts they showed off.
I was going to say it does everything just better.
Yeah, and then like there's the face in the background, but the dude is a lot more stoic because he has the helmet on and stuff, and it's like it looks like he's leading. He's not like yelling and pointing, you know?
Yeah, and like it's not just him kind of thing. Like it shows like, oh, there's more people going on. There's background. This is like a lot of cool stuff going on in that one. And he still looks fat because he's got like the massive other hand. So it's one of those that's like, oh, it's just bulky instead of, oh, you've had a few Twinkies, huh?
All right. I kind of hate that you made me like the Codex art less and start agreeing with Eric more just because of this art's existence. Bottom of B, like you said, we'll move it at the end if we have to.
Bottom of B. All right. Well, in that case, it's back to you, boy. Let's be a little bit more positive.
We can try.
We're known for that on this podcast.
Oh, I'm sure.
I've never once complained.
Let's go with Guard.
All right.
Okay. So, as I said with Demons, same deal. We're not showing off an epic character or anything. We're showing off the everyman. But
that's what Guard is.
I really like Guard. I don't think it's an S tier. I think it's an A tier. But I particularly find that every single thing about the Guard Codex is amazing, except for the main guy.
With his Genestealer mouth?
His Genestealer mouth, his wacky arm that's holding onto the las gun really strangely.
Yeah.
The gal to his right is super cool, but he himself is just a little weird. Everything else about this artwork, killer.
The arm's the thing that gets me. When you look at it like with the gun, it's just like, do you understand how to hold a gun?
I always had issue with the weird mouth. I had not noticed the hand on the gun.
I can ignore the mouth just because like it's weird, but I don't care enough.
I can't ignore that weird mouth.
But like, what are you doing with that grip?
The grip really throws me off. The mouth I'm actually okay with because he's mid-deployment guardsman. Like he's going to look like an ugly POS, but...
Yeah, exactly.
The arm throws me off.
Back to the positives of the piece, though.
Yes.
I love so you've got the focus on the guy center. However, they put him low and your eyes draw up to the light and see the tank coming over the hill to save the day. And you get the feeling of like the heroes are here. You've got, these guys are making the charge, trying to take the front. You've got guard up front, tanks in the back.
You can see artillery being fired next to the tank as well, which is obviously a staple of Guard.
Well, until the last points update.
Well, yeah, but GW can't properly do artillery ever, so it's okay. But then like there's the giant ship in the background that's kind of illuminating the whole canvas.
Yeah.
And
the StarCraft opening ship.
I was going to say, like, this just feels like StarCraft opening. It's just got a few too many Marines and no Zerg.
I do love how the background, like, there is not an ounce of floor. It is just men and women.
That's true. That's actually another positive for it, because for a lot of these, there is space, but it actually does work to Guard's favor that there is no space free. There's no gap. It does show the wall. I like it. You said A. I'm good with agreeing with that.
Yeah, I think it's A. It's definitely not the best. And I think part of my it's not the best is just it's that fucking hand, dude. But
if he was like a commissar, I think it would probably be like S tier.
Yeah, maybe.
It's possible.
All right, let's talk about... This is a really hard choice. So, to bring the mood up, let's get some good ones out. Of my factions, 2 of them have the best Codex covers. Let's talk about the Xenos one, Necrons. The most baller Necron cover art we've ever had, and it's a high bar.
Ooh, that is a statement you've said right there.
I know. It's a spicy one, too, because I really like the 8th edition art, too.
Is the 8th edition the one with the Resorb?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a high bar, because that one is really good.
I love that one, too. But this one, to me, the Scorpec is like one of the core reasons I went into Necrons when we were getting into the game. Like the original 9th edition trailer with the Scorpecs coming out, slicing up the sisters and everything. That's like such a core part of my love of Necrons. And then this beautifully done art. I absolutely love the art style. It has a style to it. It is not like a safe corporate, everything looks the same. It is clearly a stylized art in the style of an artist. I absolutely love this art for so many reasons.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Because mine's complicated.
Mine's complicated too.
I don't think it's the best Codex art or anything. It's probably only A tier. It's not S tier, but it is one of my personal favorites just because it screams to me the part of the army I love so much. And it really worked into their 9th edition rebranding of Necrons to have a more horror theme. You notice the Necron warrior up front is like super decayed and the one in front of him has the bullet hole still in him. I really like this like make them more creepy vibe they've been going for. It definitely is more of a twice dead king type dynasty we're looking at here rather than like a clean Sautek type dynasty.
A little bit. I think this dynasty is the Zarakin dynasty because they have the rustish color.
It's got their coloration, but I'm just saying like this is a very ill-kept dynasty, whereas lore-wise Sarakin is usually pretty perfect. But
yeah, he is pretty good. I agree with every point you make. I have the caveat that I actually think the Skorpek Lord is a bit placed weird. He's incredibly bulky.
His downward claw
is really bizarre. I almost feel like his phase blade is, you kind of don't even realize it's there sometimes. It just looks like green background.
Yeah, it's definitely part of the flaw. I feel like there was a version where the claw went up or something. And that's the one I wish they'd gone with, but they probably decided to make it go downward for framing or something.
So you say that, and that brings up my issues with it. I hate the background. And I think that that's partially because it could have been something like that where like the claw was in a different position.
But they want to show something off in the background to show off the Doomstalker.
It just looks bad to me. And I like the Doomstalker. The Doomstalker's cool. It's one of my favorite parts of it. And it's just messy. It's muted. It just doesn't look good.
I do agree that the push towards a more cryptic, these Necrons are really screwed up because of the 60 million years sleep, zombie style does give it like a lot of points. If that front Necron didn't look like his jaw was literally decomposing in front of us, it would go to B. I'm torn between high B, low A, but I do like it. I don't like it as much as you do, Brad, but it is pretty neat.
I'm going to argue for bottom of A for right now. If it has to go down, it has to go down, but it's up there with my favorites.
We've got some personal bias, but that's how it goes.
Yes, but personal bias makes me want to push it up to A. It's a very strong look for the Necrons, in my opinion. All right, Eric, what do you want to talk about?
Let's do the standard Space Marines.
Okay, we had to get out of the way at some point.
Just the boys in blue?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's one of those that, like, there's a certain aspect that the Space Marines are the reference to everything else kind of thing. Like, that's your focal point through the 40K universe. So, like, let's see what they've done with the Codex. We've got technically 2 because there's the 9th and then the 10th.
But it's 1. They're the same art.
Oh, they're different art.
They're the same art.
It's the same art, but it's different art, but it's the same.
Yeah.
Well, here's a better question. Which one do you guys like better, the 10th edition or the 10th edition one?
It's the 10th edition one, but I think the shocking thing is I don't hate the 9th edition one.
You didn't grab the joke of...
No, I got the 10th edition or 10th edition. You're forcing 10th edition. I got that joke.
All right, good.
I'm just ignoring it because it wasn't very good. We have a high bar for comedy. We're not like those Adeptus ridiculous guys who will just laugh at everything.
You bring me here on the day of my daughter's wedding and make fun of my jokes. On the day of my Canadian retrieval.
Yeah.
So personally, did you say you like 9th or 10th better? I'm sorry.
I like 10th better, but I don't hate 9th.
And I like 9th better.
I like 10th better, but I don't hate 9th either. 9th feels to me like the biggest B we could possibly have. Like nothing can ever be as more of a B than this.
I think it is dead middle B. I think Space Marines often get pigeonholed there, but in this case, because we're just judging art, I do think this is a solid art, but it could have been better. And I honestly think the 10th edition Codex just did it better. My only flaw with the 10th edition Codex is I fucking despise the guy's haircut in the bottom right corner. It's so petty, but like...
So if I'm able to step back, I think 10th is better, but I like 9th more because I like that style, particularly like the banner.
It has a very painted art style.
Yeah, it calls to me more than the 10th one, even though I look at the 10th and I'm like, yeah, all right, I can see that being more uniform and like the shot and all of that stuff just works better.
We're going the biggest B of all Bs.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Which, hey, good job. Bricky.
Oh, so here's the question. Do I pick an S tier or do I pick a D tier?
Do your D tier, because I'm going to possibly argue against it.
Okay, Blood Angels.
What?
I hate the Blood Angels artwork.
Oh my god.
I think it's awful.
No, it's not even like of the Space Marines. I have like at least 3 that are worse.
It is tied to me with the worst.
Holy shit. I gotta hear your logic.
So it's not like complete, again, we're this is like last place in the Olympics kind of stuff. Like all of this artwork is very well done by the various artists, but it's got problems. For me,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those that, like, none of us could do any better.
It's easier to criticize than to make.
Yeah, like, we're not actually attacking any of you artists.
but for me, the main thing is that the main focal point guy has almost nothing about him that screams Blood Angel to me, besides the fact that he's red and has a chainsword.
I mean, that's literally every Space Marine Special Snowflake chapter, Bricky.
Yeah, okay, but then we have like the Dark Angels, and that
Dark Angels has the best Space Marine cover. We can get
without
there.
a doubt. But comparatively, it's the fact that the background has the cool angelic thing, which is neat, but everything on the background from the bottom half is just this cluster of all kinds of shenanigans that I do not enjoy. And my biggest sin, red and green is a dog shit color mixture.
That's the best argument.
I feel like you change the, like, smoky green, anything else that's more interesting, and it would be way better.
The only thing I would say would be worse would be if you did red on red and suffered the Space Wolves issue of the blue on blue, hard to tell everything that's happening.
Yeah.
I still can't tell everything that's happening, and they didn't even do that.
I know. I do agree with you with the smoky thing can cause issues. Because I think my problem is I love aspects of this, but I definitely see the flaws you see too. I do love the Sanguinary Guard in the background, or Sanguinor maybe. I don't know which it's supposed to be, again, to your flaw.
Those are cool.
I like them, and I like that they're a little bit on the creepy side of things, but I can definitely see the want to not have it be like a stinky green battlefield they're in, and it does tint them very green from their gold.
It doesn't make any sense to put green on this. Like, I get it's a battlefield, and smoke can actually look green when you have, but this was art, so, like, realism doesn't matter, obviously.
Green is like the easy complementary, but like it's the wrong green for that in my opinion, I guess. I don't know. I will give you the strongest thing against it is the green. I'm shocked at how much you don't like it because I absolutely love the entire forward arm of the primary guy there. And I like the guy up front is just the very classic off to the side look that like half of the Space Marines have, which you could say is a boring thing. But my only issue, I thought you were going to bring it up, his head looks tiny.
His head does look very tiny. He has the Black Templar issue.
Oh, Black Templars that is my actual worst. I despise the Black Templar one.
That's my tie with Blood Angels, is the Black Templar one.
I think that's too low for Blood Angels. I would put them with Space Wolves at worst. I actually had them as slightly below proper Space Marines.
I would put top of D for Blood Angels, but I would not put them above Demons. I would put them bottom of C.
I'm with Bricky on this one.
All right, we'll put it in D. I'm outvoted.
I do actually really like the creepy angel vibe going on, but this green fog ruins that aspect of it.
I also think on one side or point, I do agree the arm is really cool, but compared to like even Black Templars, for all of its faults, it does kind of yell Black Templars, and so does Deathwatch and Dark Angels.
Deathwatch, I'd argue, has the muddle issue, which I would argue it shares with Blood Angels on that aspect. It's a weakness of both, in my opinion.
It does. I don't love Deathwatch, but it does still yell Deathwatch.
True.
The only thing that yells Blood Angels to me is really the angels in the background behind green fog.
And the green fog is definitely the low point of it for me, and the pinhead. But let's just keep going then and get rid of all of the snowflakes so that we can move on to the more interesting factions. Black Templars, I am putting below Blood Angels. We can say they're tied if it makes you feel better. I despise this art.
His head just ruins it.
His head, his very tiny pistol flamer, it's so small. With how he is standing, either his axe is like the size of his chest, or he has the world's smallest little pistol in his hand. And I can't tell which is supposed to be the case.
I hate the fact that the framing looks like the units in front are just like sitting down.
Because he's like standing on a rock that's as tall as a man. Yeah. A lot of them have that issue, but yeah.
It looks like they're just like, oh, I'm just sitting down on a break. It's all good.
I think most of the Marine equivalent cover arts suffer from the exact same framing issue of direction is we want front and center character, and then down low below them should be all of the cool baseline unit, up above sky possible flying unit or something like for Blood Angels, but for everything else just a sky of some sort. They all have that framing, and it's very poor for all of it. Deathwatch sort of gets away from it.
Deathwatch works okay. Honestly, the main Space Marines is extreme in that aspect, and it gets away with it better than Black Templars.
I think Grey Knights gets away with it the best, actually. Though we can argue they're not a Space Marine.
All in favor of Black Templars on the bottom, though, say I.
Aye.
Yeah,
Well, so I don't think it's the worst cover, but I think it's
the worst of the Marines.
it shares down.
Okay, let's do Deathwatch then.
I don't hate Deathwatch as much as I hate Black Templars or you guys hate Blood Angels. The thing I will give Black Templars, where we said it kind of gets away from the problem all the rest have, it shows a kill team.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a legal kill team because I refuse to read this codex, but it does show a kill team.
And not only does it show a kill team, but they all have individual weapons that relate to their team. The Dark Angels with the plasma gun, the Imperial Fist with the big shield. It's very take the skills of each group.
I like that also this is the only one that escapes the man who is important big, everyone else small, because they are supposed to be an elite unit. So you get the flow where it slants down to the right, then down to the left, and you see the guy out front is the scout forward. It's much better done framing wise than most of them.
I really like the big laser in the center. I don't know what it is. I just like how it cuts through the red.
Oh, that's coming down from the sky, yeah, like the Exterminatus laser or whatever.
Yeah.
I will say it does suffer for me what you guys mentioned with Blood Angels with the foggy blah behind. Once you get behind your initial 5 dudes, I can't make out shit. Like, I see in the sky the silhouette for their stupid flyer.
But there's like some kind of like banner thing.
It gets really muddy to me. It doesn't have the issue up front, though.
And I think that that's kind of okay. The problem with Blood Angels is one of their interesting things in the art have become fuzzy or muddy or whatever you want to call it. Like, it's no longer a focal point of the art. It's out of focus. But like Deathwatch, the out of focus stuff, yeah, it's not great. The red's a bit extreme, but like it doesn't matter. The kill team in the front is like, pay attention to this. The rest doesn't really matter.
So B tier then, above Votann somewhere. Do you want to put it above or below Space Marine?
I'm a below Votann. I'm like a mid B. We could do above Votann for now. We can adjust.
I thought you were the one who wanted low B for Votann for the short joke.
Oh, you're right. Well, now we have to be above Votann now.
Okay.
That's fair. So what do we got left? We've got Dark Angels?
Dark Angels is easily the best Marine one, and it's not even close.
My many disses against the Dark Angels. I can't diss your cover art.
I genuinely don't know what I would improve upon on this artwork. It's got the weird knighthood combo. It has the plasma. The colors are good. It has all the weird little menials everywhere that's like revering the Marine like he's the deity. As far as I'm concerned, this is a clean S.
Yeah, I don't have a fault with this cover. It is a great sales pitch for the faction, which is what you should be shooting for with your cover of your codex. It should make you want to play that faction.
I totally agree. And again, looking at backgrounds and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter because like the background is just a silhouette of a building kind of thing. And that's all you need to know. And there isn't extra like, oh, look at this call out kind of thing. It's just like, okay, this is like, there's people around and like it's a living environment kind of thing, but it's not muddy. And I do love the color fade from top to bottom of like orangish, reddish, yellow down towards the grayish blues. It's kind of overused sometimes, but it works really well.
It's one of those few times where the background really isn't as important because all the foreground Marines and menials and stuff are just like there's enough foreground to the point where that background is just, it's like a lighting requirement.
And everything in the foreground has lines drawing your eyes up to the central figure to keep you focused on what's important. It's just good. This is how you do it.
It really does have a lot of perspective as well that just plays well.
Is that all of them? I think that's all of them.
I think we got away from Space Marines. Please, Bricky, let's talk about anything except for them.
All right, perfect. Well, we did just come off a really high horse. Let's bring it down a bit.
Marines.
Don't do it. Hey, plus, if he wants to bring it down, Chaos Space Marines is one of my top ones.
When we get to Chaos Space Marines, you'll need to shut me up with a rifle. Let's do Orks. Orks depresses me. It does not give me the feeling of orc.
It's so yellow and orange.
I hate the yellow. It's why is this not green?
And it's very monotone.
It looks like someone took the saturation of it and like brought it down 25%. I don't understand this cover. It also has tiny man focal point syndrome like with Space Wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah. The promo codex cover was very slanted towards just being a beast snagga up up close, like this drive-by view of one, but it's leagues better than this cover in my opinion. I think the only positive I have for this cover is I really like seeing the giant Death Dread behind them.
I love the Death Dread.
That is the best part.
Why are all your orcs, it's just like with Space Wolves where it's a weird fisheye angle downward. It looks like you're staring down on all of them. You're looking at them all from the top essentially. Or they're all just hunched 90 degrees forward and just running forward with their heads shooting the ground, which is a little orky, but it doesn't work for the art.
It works particularly worse when you see that orc on the front right is like looking upwards. Like it looks like they're firing literally into a ditch.
Yeah.
That they just have to cross past them. like it looks like a little ditch, and he got past the ditch and he's going up, and like they're all firing into the dirt, which is pretty orky in fairness.
But it just doesn't make any sense for the art. Yeah, as funny as it is orc-like, we're supposed to be selling orcs as like, hey, it's the green tide. Because, I mean, it's, it's like a bunch of boys or whatever. Or, I mean, they could have flipped it and been like, oh, let's focus on the vehicle aspect. And that'd be cool as well. But like...
And you just mentioned that, Eric. And it just made it even more annoying in my head. It's a bunch of boys. The guy in the center should be a war boss. He's even got his WA banner.
Mm-hmm.
He is no bigger than the boys. It is literally the core concept of orcs. Follow the biggest boy. This is your one time. Like a lot of these ones that shouldn't have it suffer from man is strangely bigger than everyone around him. This is the one you fucked up, and it's the worst one to fuck that up on.
Yeah, I just kind of hate it.
How low are we going though?
I think it's D.
I might put top of D. D for DACA.
It feels wrong putting that above Blood Angels for me, but I get that you guys really despise that one.
I'm sorry. I would put it above Blood Angels still.
Yeah, same.
That's a rough one for me.
Hey, at least there's a cool saw in the Orcs one.
The characters in the Orc Codex does shout orc. It's just weird.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue the Xenos and let's talk about 10th edition Codex. So the big change for me with Tyranids from 9th edition to 10th edition is they added the Xenos Tyranid logo behind them, which they did on the Space Marine one too for the Imperium logo.
Yeah, it's all shiny and stuff.
I hope that doesn't become a thing, and I know it's going to be a thing for the edition.
It's going to be a thing, and it's stupid. I didn't like it when they did it for Magic cards. I don't like it on the cover.
I actually like not having that on the art.
It's fine to have like a logo somewhere like in like the text area. If you put it up in like the Warhammer 40k banner thing, you put it in lower where like you're not focused so much by like the Codex Tyranids text somewhere in there. Sure, whatever.
Hot take, I actually like the thing. I think it's cool.
Fair enough.
There's a lot of people that do like it. Like I said, like the Magic cards that have that kind of stuff, people love those as well.
They're very popular. They are not for me.
Yeah.
I do have to say this 9th/10th edition Codex art. It's a huge step down from the Raymond Swanson art from 8th edition.
The Tyranid Warrior one. That one's pretty iconic.
The artist that did that, you probably aren't a big Magic player, but he's a big Magic artist, and you can literally pick out every art he's ever done from a lineup. He has a style. If I show you random Jund cards he's done, you'll be like, wow, that's the guy who did the Tyranid 8th edition Codex art.
So one thing I do want to give a call out, I'm so glad you brought this up. That Codex art does the thing with like popping out of the border.
Yeah, I think that was an 8th edition one. It's the same as the 7th edition art, and I think it was like a slight framing difference between those two.
I absolutely love that idea of like if you're gonna put a framing on it, which you don't have to, that's fair. If you're going to do that, play with it to your advantage, and this does a fantastic job of it.
That being said, I actually prefer the 9th and 10th edition Codex where they are cover to cover, not a need for a pop out in the center.
That's fair.
But that said, I don't think it's terrible. I just think it's uninspired, like B, C tier, B tier, somewhere in there.
Ironically, I find this to be almost the reverse problem of the issues we've been having before. The Hive Tyrant looks really good. Like, he just looks great. Does he look as good as the Tyranid Warrior in the old one? Not quite, but he looks good. Ironically, this is a situation where I think, unlike before, I want more in the background.
Yeah, this should be the swarm. You can't see the ground because there's more Tyranids.
I needed more things happening in the background. I needed more gargoyles. I needed spore mines.
It would be a great one to be the counterpoint to the guard one.
Yeah, a capillary tower would be awesome. Coming down from space. Like, I needed something else in the background to sell this, like, unstoppable menace. Like, the little Hormagon in the front looks great. They look really good. And I just need a bit more.
Do like another 50 of those.
Having behind your Hive Tyrant, like have it flow up a hill and you just see the swarm behind him as he's pointing forward. I could see that improving it. So where do we we want to actually put it for what it is?
I like high B, like top of B.
Yeah, I can't really argue it going to A.
Compared to Space Marines, do I like it more? It's probably about the same.
I have no opinion on the Space Marine art. It's the perfect B.
It's the Best B of all time.
I'm going to paste an image that I remember from StarCraft. This is kind of what I want.
Yeah. You want that effect. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. That's really good.
Here's the big focal point, and then the rest of the swarm kind of thing that's going to overrun you. It doesn't matter. Like, this is the cool focal point, but you still got to deal with the rest.
All right. Eric, you're up. The only biggest hot take we've had is the Blood Angels so far. I wonder when we're going to get into real hot take territory.
Let's go with Tau.
Tau is Space Marines, but there are Tau instead of Space Marines. It's the same art. These are the same picture. That was my thought when I saw the cover for the first time.
Look at the Blood Angels one and then look at the Tau one.
It's the exact same lighting as the generic Space Marine one from 9.
Yeah.
That too, the orange.
I look at it and I'm like, yeah, it sells me on Tau. I know what I'm getting into, but I hate it.
What do you hate about it?
It looks bland compared to a Gundam.
That's fair.
And I'm sorry, but like everybody who looks at Tau is going to compare it to a Gundam.
Yeah, that's why they did it.
So I look at it and I'm just like, yeah, I can't knock it for misselling or clickbaiting or whatever. You're getting what's on the tin, but fucking hell is it boring.
Okay, so I don't know if you ever saw the cover for it, Eric. So that's the 8th edition cover, which is the exact same unit, but it feels more dynamic.
And that's just so much fucking cooler. I want to pilot that mech.
I think my favorite part of that art is the guy in the upper right lunging who's blocked by the Warhammer logo. But the whole point is it's a great art from an energy standpoint, whereas the 9th edition one it's the Space Marine cover art, but it's Tau.
It does what it's supposed to do, I guess. I just gonna compare it to Gundams, and I'm gonna compare it to things that would be that similar kind of effect, and I fucking hate 10th.
The part that really annoys me is you've got a sweet broadside, like my all-time favorite Tau looking suit in the back, but there's like a haze over it, so you can barely make out that the broadside is there.
I honestly didn't even know it was a broadside, but now that you say it, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
It may not actually be a broadside. It looks like a broadside, but that's the whole point is you gotta show off something awesome like that. I know it was probably part of the art direction. This isn't the artist choice where they get told, you are going to put this character type front and center. Here are his lackeys. They will be surrounding him up front low, just like with all these other ones.
And don't forget to put these drones.
And throw one drone on there, like the Space Marines have to have a Space Marine flag.
I think of this Codex cover like I think of Tau as a faction. I just don't care.
Great, they're going right next to Space Marines. Enjoy.
I would put them lower than that, honestly. Like, it invokes so few... It's like a blank is standing next to me. Like, I have no emotions about this Codex. It invokes nothing for me. It does nothing. It's kind of like when you play a video game that's just... It's the only thing that's worse than being bad. It's being bland.
Absolutely. We should have like a separate bland tier.
I'm with you. Here's what we'll do. Because they copied Space Marine's homework, wherever Space Marine lands in B tier, Tau will land there in C tier.
Just right below it, so like vertically.
So you just constantly can look up and down and check their homework.
You know, it's unfortunate too, because like with the Demons Codex, you know that artwork is commissioned by GW. Like they have their idea for the artwork and then someone makes it happen. I actually really don't mind the Fire Warriors in the front.
No, they're very well done. From a technical level, it is good, strong art.
It's how they wanted to direct it is just not.
And honestly, it's one of those that bad is kind of better than bland a lot of times, because generally when it comes to art, bad things have so long as it's even competently done, which they all are, we'll have the like, oh, this person likes it kind of thing. Most people hate it, but this person likes it. Bland is just bland, man.
Bad is a feeling that is invoked. Bland is not even a feeling.
Yeah. So what do we want to hit next then?
Bricky, give us an S tier.
Ooh, it's time. Let's do it. Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah.
It is, in my opinion, undoubtedly, undisputed, the best Codex art out of every single one of them. I would make another tier that's specifically above S that says Chaos Space Marines.
Okay, let's do that live right now so that Berilio screams while he's editing.
And then it adjusts the entire tier list up and down one.
Yes, that's the best part.
Fantastic. It is everything I've ever wanted. There is a giant burning red warp portal, a chaos lord that is dual wielding power swords and chain axes, and then a combination of just the most heinous and horrifying cultists and CSM units around him. And it's beautiful. It is everything I have ever wanted.
I feel like I want to take parts away because it's got the whole, like, here's big person with small people in front.
No, you cannot. It's so good.
It just actually does it, like, really well. And honestly, the art style, it feels so good for what they're trying to do.
It feels gross. It feels like if I look at it for too long, I'm going to go insane, which is not what the demons invoke.
Exactly. All the strong, like the lininess of everything, it feels so good because it hurts your eyes in a way, but like in a good way. Like, oh, I love everything.
Even the background color is this weird, like, broken up halo illumination kind of thing, where it's not like clean looking, it's all gnarly lines. It screams heavy metal.
The man is being haloed by hell.
It is very cool. Not only is the art cool, it fucking nails CSM.
All right, but we've all agreed too much, so I'm going to start a fight. Are you ready? Let's talk about Adeptus Custodes.
Trash.
It is a totally fine codex cover. You must defend this opinion. I had zero opinions on this codex until you went off pre-show. Very fascinating to me.
All right. You want me to defend my opinion on why I think it's bad?
It has a little birdie on it.
Okay. One, why is there that little birdie? It's very strange.
Because they're the talons of the Emperor, man. It's symbolic.
Okay, look at his axe.
Oh no, the axe is terrible, but that's most of these Imperial weapons.
It's so big. It looks like that cutscene where Kratos gives like Atreus the axe and it's way too big.
Boy.
I was going to make a similar reference for a different Codex Art when we get there.
It looks like it's like a foam axe.
Looks like the thing I would win at the fair.
I will give you that. That is one of the flaws against it. I actually think one of my major flaws for it is below his feet where there's the big bare open space.
It's like living flesh or whatever it is.
It's very weird. That's actually like tonally one of my problems with the book. I love the lightning bolt behind him. I like the symbolic eagle. That part works for me. I agree, comedy axe. But that's only some points off. The weird fleshy ground he's standing on without issue, no helmet or protection on. The sister in front of him looks like she's kind of disappointed.
The sister looks weird. That's another big set against it for me, is that she is not the focal point of the image and she has more screen space than the focal point does.
She's very high up for where she should be. There's some weird stuff going on in the art. I really don't think it's the lowest though.
The best part of it is the dude to the right. He is carrying this art. Even the Dreadnought is like angled weird. He's like, ooh, look, chicken nuggets, and he's leaving.
Oh yeah, he's tipping out of the frame to the left. I'll give you that one.
I don't disagree with you on the vast majority of these things.
But I could say them about the Deathwatch one that's sitting in B tier.
Even ignoring that, it sells Custodes. Look at the models that Custodes has. Tell me that this doesn't.
It doesn't sell Custodes for me.
It's what you're going to get from most of the models. I'm sorry, but their models are old.
Hold on. I know what sells Custodes for me. Here it is. Oh god, that artwork. Why is it so small?
I've been asked the same.
They do this. It's impossible to ever click on any kind of artwork.
Why are you having so much trouble with this?
I don't know. This to me sells Custodians. It's a little dark because this is like a cinematic. It's not supposed to be this dark. It's supposed to be lighter than that. But
yeah, like you could like cut out like the center part there and add some lighting behind it. And
it's just like literally, it's like every Custodian is a hero and he is just wading through these guys. And I love it.
This is the art that we're looking at is from the Versus box of Genestealers.
Shadow Throne.
I will give you this is a better main character look.
It represents Custodians. I think it just shows them off as a unit.
I guess. I don't know. I just feel like they look so derpy from...
He's overswinging on that one. I get what you're saying with that, and that's probably a better art for showing off a Custodian. The problem with this, I think it's a problem with the actual codex cover art and Custodes in general. They're accurately showing off how few custodians should be anywhere. There's two dudes and one sister there, or two sisters there, and that's it. And like, that's how most fights involving custodians should be. You don't need 10 custodians to take out a room. One'll do. But it is a bit strange for a cover art where it's supposed to be, if you're putting it with all the other covers, it's supposed to feel in line with them, and they're all a group.
It feels like there's more Custodes than there are Tyranids on the Tyranid one.
I was about to say, a few of the Codex, like the new Space Marine one, has only 2 guys in it.
Well, yeah, but that's a new 10th edition one that will be exclusive to only Space Marines, and everyone else will get their 9th edition one.
Well, like the Tyranid ones, there is only 3. Like, it does feel a little...
And we knocked them for that.
We did. I don't know, man. I think Custodians is the worst one. I think D tier, if you want to put it above Black Templars, because you just whatever, but...
I feel like it's C tier.
Oh, no.
I want to put it above Chaos Demons, but you're going to scream if I put it that high up.
Above Demons?
I want to put Demons down below Blood Angels, so... Can we do this? Can we put it below Blood Angels and Demons below it, and we both win, and we both get to shit on the Codex we hate?
Okay, fine. How about do this?
You like the Orks more than the Chaos Demons?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot.
Okay.
No, get Demons back up in C. If you have to put Custodians in C tier, put it on the bottom and for C for Custodes. I will accept that because it's funny.
Fair enough. I do think Custodes is better than Orks, if we're comparing it directly to the thing below it right now. I think the color alone causes it to be better than Orks.
Yeah.
I think you might be right on that one. I'm slowly hating Orks more and more.
It's awful.
I might put Orks as the worst now instead of Custodians. It's really bad.
Let's put Orks all the way down there. We'll use that as our litmus test if anything is truly awful.
All right.
Okay. What do we want to hit next?
It's you now, so who do you want? Do you want to brag about how much better your Spaceman is than everybody else for cover art?
No, I want to hold that. That's a back pocket.
Okay.
Let's do one of the Knights. Let's do Imperial Knights.
Okay. I don't love this one. Chaos Knights wins.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. I hate yellow.
The blue and yellow is actually a fine combo.
I think it works for Imperial Knights.
And you're getting an upward look at the knight, just like with Chaos Knights.
There's a Titan in the background. Why is there a Titan?
That's one of my problems.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's a Titan.
Yeah.
Which is
fucking hell.
No. I have 2 major problems. He is just shooting off screen, which is very lame like most of the covers. And it's why I actually am going to rank Chaos Knights much higher. And the other one is he's not the coolest thing on his cover. You're showing off a different faction behind him. Wouldn't you rather play the bigger one?
Also, yeah, he's firing at something completely unrelated to the swath of Chaos Space Marines directly below his feet.
Yes, which you could say is supposed to be him being a badass, but like...
He's just going to stomp through them kind of thing. Like,
But we know that's not going to be the case.
Also, melta grenades do a hell of a lot of
Yeah,
work.
I know. You should not be walking over something that might have a melta. Well, in 10th you probably could, but...
No, grenade stratagem. 3 mortals.
I actually quite like if we got rid of the background, I feel like we could do something really interesting with like, you frame it in like a village kind of lower buildings kind of thing and like be like, okay, this is your big knight kind of thing. Like you give it that kind of framing and it would be really cool, but it looks small comparatively. And then the things that it's walking over look even like tiny. And it's just like, what?
The things that walking over looking tiny is the thing I'll give it. It shows off how massive they feel to another faction. I'm good with that aspect of it, but everything below his knees is dust. Above him is a cooler dude. His shoulders being blown off. It's a real weird energy coming off this image for this knight. I do not like it nearly as much as when we get to Chaos Knights. I don't think this is an exceptionally good one. It's not the worst by any means, but it's very emotionless, energyless, no fun. It feels very Space Wolfy to me.
It feels bland. Like, even if the gun was just kind of angled differently and less boxy, or maybe if the knight was like, what's the one that has 2 guns?
Brad, you should know that.
I don't play Loyalist. All of mine are the same. They're all a despoiler.
Oh, well, whatever the point is, like 2 guns would have been kind of maybe more interesting. It's just, he looks really bland. Do you remember the old 8th edition Imperial Knights artwork? That one has a hand in it, but it looks really cool.
It's not my favorite either. I just hated the color palette though.
Oh, okay, actually, I screwed up. That was not...
You're thinking the Chaos Knight one?
No. I was thinking of, let me insert this because I can actually do this now that I figured it out.
I'm so proud. Thanks, Grandma.
Oh, where'd it go?
No.
Oh no, Grandma didn't figure it out.
Oh, there it is. It's above Custodes.
What did you do?
Oh, it's just huge.
Oh yeah, that art is fantastic. You are correct. I think we've used that on several episodes. It's essentially the same dude with different guns / hands. He magged his model.
It shows how well framing can do for it, kind of thing. Like, take the same framing and just leave what we've got with the current Codex one, which not a great pose. The other one's better. But like, even just plopping this one into that same kind of background setting, it just looks better.
I also just realized that because of his missile launcher, I think I like the one without it better. It gives a better silhouette.
Oh yeah, but I do think Imperial Knights is still C.
I think like mid C. I put it above Tau because of just like out of principle, because common Imperial W.
Is it better than Space Wolves though?
I don't think so.
It's very close. I don't care.
Yeah.
I care about neither of them.
Let's do Chaos Knights while we're at it.
All right, Chaos Knights. Much better, exact same homework.
It's metal as hell.
He's slicing a Redemptor Dread in two on screen while looking away in disgust, caring about other problems. He's done with that fight.
He is looking at it break down. He's looking at the other Marines and he's like, oh, you want this too, huh?
You're next.
Yeah.
I just love the skull helmets too.
Chaos Knights just look better. We're just the winners.
They do.
I mean, it's S tier, right?
It's damn close if it isn't.
I think it's A.
To me, this is like Chaos Space Marines. I fucking love this art. Everything about it does exactly what I'm expecting, and it does it so well. And the colors work. And
I'll put it at the top of A, probably above IG, but below S.
okay.
So my issue with it is entirely because I don't like it when codexes have too many enemy combatants on screen.
Fair.
There's something about that just kind of bugs me at times, and the Dreadnought takes up a lot of real estate, even though it's awesome to watch it die.
I normally agree with you.
That's like a selling point to me. Chaos Knights are so badass that like all of these other units, like the other factions, mean nothing. The art sells that to me.
We all agree it's good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make my selling point for S tier, so
I actually don't like it as much as Guard, but I am very biased on Guard though.
Do you know what he doesn't have a problem with? Figuring out where his las-gun gets loaded.
You're right.
He's also got better lips.
He does have better lips. All right. You know, just because it was funny, yeah, we'll keep him at top of S or top of A.
All right.
I almost got it.
You almost, yeah. I saw a slip up.
I was like, take it. No takesies backsies.
Let's talk about one that I think is going to divide. Aeldari. I know Bricky is on the record as the world's largest fan of Aeldari. He's up there with me and Black Templars.
I can't talk to a single Warhammer player without that brought up. Just like, Bricky loves his Eldar, doesn't he? It's like, oh, it's so funny, Brad. You're such a comedian.
Everyone in our audience thinks they're original when they make Black Templars jokes because it's my running joke of hating Black Templars. It's okay.
So you know when like a dog sees you place on like your phone to record and he runs up to sniff it? That's what the striking Scorpion is doing right there. He is so in
Hitting that
frame.
camera.
He is so close. It bugs the hell out of me.
That's hilarious. I didn't think of it that way, but now I'll never not.
So before I say where I am, where are you, Bricky? You're the lead on this one because it's your favoritist.
I'm like B.
Okay.
The dude on the left, the Farseer or whatever, is really cool. The flying dude is in a good frame. The background is pretty good, but I don't like the dogs in the front.
So, okay. I actually would put it to A. So,
Hilariously, I kind of hated the things in the front and then was like, you're like, oh, it's like a dog. And I was like, yeah, that's cool as shit now. Let's go.
you want Eric over with dogs.
Yeah, I was like, well, this was kind of like a low B maybe, but now I'm like, oh, maybe it's an A tier. That's pretty fucking cool.
It might only be B, but I would put it high in B if I did. So my thoughts are, the Autarch flying is such a win for this framing setup that they all seem to be enforced with, and it's why when we get Death Guard, fantastic at the same job, and it's why I wish Tyranids had been a flying Hive Tyrant if they had to keep this going on. Like, you have the free out if you have a flying character to have the character be above everybody else and look more important.
And it makes sense.
And like, no one's gonna doubt why this man is flying. Some of the jetpack characters, you could say it might look a little silly on the cover art because jetpacks in general are. But when you've got your fake ass wings on your jetpack, it's hella cool.
It's just like, yeah, okay.
And I would argue one of my only things, the Farseer is amazing. I almost wish the Farseer was the central character, just because I think they're one of the best things going for selling an Eldar character, though the wings are probably selling that Autarch.
Yeah, I think my only issue with it is that it's just a little bit, I don't know, like the shape is a little strange, I guess. I still find the Striking Scorpion weird.
So the thing that's against it, and why it will definitely never hit perfect, is one, there is a 2-image effect going on where you can draw a U shape below the Autarch, and there are 2 separate images, him up top and everyone below him who is unrelated. There's no flow between the two, in my opinion. And also, this is not the fault of the cover or anything other than the design of Eldar.
Oh, fuck off.
I fucking hate
Fuck off.
that it doesn't look like a unified force, because they couldn't even wear a uniform, because every Eldar has to be special and paint themselves their special Jedi Council color. I do not
Such a
like
little bitch about
that
that.
the Striking Scorpions are like the ultra special, we gotta be green, even when everyone else is dressed in red.
I do think the green color does throw it off a little bit. Also, I don't much like the Eldar's eggheads. I always think it's weird, but that's just an Eldar problem.
As I've argued before, Eldar have the worst helmet designs until you get to Wraiths, where the bowling head pin is so dumb it comes back around to the coolest thing ever.
I mean, I don't know how you can say that when Howling Banshees exist and they're awesome.
No, I don't like Howling Banshees. That's a take that I've gotten in trouble with our commenters for before. I am not a fan.
That is like one of the few Eldar things I do think are kind of cool, even though I have a personal grudge against them as a Night Lords fan.
Let's toss him at like high B, probably just above Tyranid, because I think I like it better than Tyranid just because I love the idea of the flying.
I'm okay with that.
I feel like I want it to be A, and if they had changed the angles of all of the other guns to be focused in like the same parallel angles to, you know, the primary Autarch's gun angling, it could work and like tie them together, because you're absolutely right. Right now, they're 2 separate images that are just superimposed, but you could have made it so that like if everybody was slightly shifted and all of the, you know, like have those lines, like make the other guns, the fingers, the pointy sticks, whatever you want to have pointing in the same direction, and it will tie them together. Because it doesn't have that, I'm fine with B.
All right, where are we going next then?
Let's just do Grey Knights.
Grey Knights, I think, is hands down, other than Dark Angels, the best powered armor Imperium faction. That's going to get taken out of context.
I think they're good. I don't love it.
I love certain aspects of it. I don't think any of them are perfect like Dark Angels is.
I like the color scheme. The purple looks good. I love how hard they've gone into the Grey Knights aesthetic with the sheer volume of shit on them.
Yes.
My biggest strike against this, there is not a single psychic power being used.
That's one of 2 strikes I'll give it. Eric, the other one is?
I'm not sure what you're going to say, but I want more hammers.
Okay, that one's fine. Mine was going to be, it's showing off 2 strike marines in the Terminator faction.
Yeah, but I've kind of given up on that fight.
They're not necessarily the Terminator faction. They're a Terminator faction because of their balance issues. They have plenty of strike marines.
No, they're supposed to be the Paladin faction. Like, that's their thing.
Yeah, one of their things armory-wise is they're supposed to have one of the highest densities of Terminators. They only use non-Terminator armor when it makes sense. They don't have an issue sourcing Terminators like everybody else.
Actually, you are right. I forgot about that part of the lore.
That gets into the whole thing as to why they have Paladins and Terminators as a Terminators being troop/battle line now, but like they are the Terminator faction.
You actually, that is a good point. I may have been mistaken.
That's one of the flaws I have with it, is I really wish one of the 2 guys up front had been a Terminator too.
Someone needs to fire lightning out of their hands.
I was expecting some type of like warp storm going on in like the backgrounds of like...
Wait, he is a librarian. That's a book on his back. He's a terrible librarian. He's casting gun. He's from 10th edition. Oh shit, this is your 10th edition codex.
I mean, casting gun is something he will do simultaneously, but someone needs to have lightning or something coming from somewhere.
Absolutely. It could be a background aspect of it, you know? It should be front and center, but the fact that it doesn't have anything is weird. I do like the purple though. I really like this color scheme of the purple background, and it's not like there's other stuff going on that like, oh, they put a fucking random flyer in there there because, you know, Grey Knights have flyers.
It does have problems, but it's still an amazing art. I love the glowing eyes. Even the guy who is in the dark up front, the glowing eyes still give you the satisfaction that it's not just a blurry mess up front, which is something a lot of the Space Marines ones suffer from. I still like this one a lot. I think it's probably A tier somewhere.
It'd be the lowest of A tier.
I am not as huge on it, but I will go with A tier to appease.
To appease the Grey Knight in the room.
I screwed up a lore thing and I must atone.
All of your credentials on basing that one is shot, huh?
Hey man, Adeptus Ridiculous has gone on record many times as being hated by a lot of the old guard Warhammer players because we are so laissez-faire with how we tell our stuff and we get shit wrong.
We are hated by them because I actively wish for the death of old Marines as a unit type, so...
Ooh, you're a firstborn or cringe type person, huh?
Oh, you can find that in many of our episodes.
You will. Yeah, you definitely won't like friends that way.
Our comment sections have some fantastic...
Yeah.
I want what they did with Sternguard. Just a nice redo.
I fucking despise the little piggy face mask they added to the Stern Guard.
Give them their Darth Vader ripoff.
No, I hate the piggy.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's bring an S tier out here. All right. Let's bring a unanimously adored one, Admech.
This is S tier. It is not a perfect one, but it is damn close.
I don't know if there's anything I would change on it.
I have a single request.
What is your single request?
Can he not be doing the boy meme hands, the pray emoji?
No, I refuse. Look,
That's
if you look
the only
close
problem with that art.
Disagree. I love the fact that he has a mechanical pair of hands praying and a flesh pair of hands also praying with an additional pair of hands holding an axe. It is the most Admech thing I have ever seen.
It is kind of, yeah.
I reject your opinion. I reject it.
I love every aspect of this art, but every time I look at his hands, it just makes me giggle, and I can't take it seriously. And it's so good in Grimdark in every other way. I guess you could say it summarizes 40k well by that aspect of good in Grimdark with, then there's the comedy undertone, the
little bit of derp.
Something goes a little too derpy on it. I could argue that almost makes it more 40k.
It's so overly complex in a good way.
I love this art so much.
It is incredible. I'm not kidding. I found a really, really high-res art piece somewhere in like the deep bowels of the internet and used the merch poster printer machine to print myself it, and it's on my wall. I love this artwork. The only reason the CSM one isn't on is because I couldn't find it.
So there you go. Go below in the YouTube comments and share that for Bricky.
Yeah, if you can find it. I think one of its strengths that would generally be a weakness elsewhere is that, like, it is so intricate for this single focal, but, like, that's the point of AdMech. So, like, generally I would say, like, okay, you've gone a bit too much on this one part, but no, it nails it pretty well.
Can we just talk about one fact? This one fades into a turquoise smoke behind it. Blood Angels is a puke green one, and there is a world of difference between those.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's also the fact that, like, the smoke's not trying to hide an awesome part of the, like, if you had put the smoke in front of this guy,
He's just in the background.
Yeah, like, that's basically the difference between the S and D tier.
I can't not think of him, like, screaming boy. And this has improved the artwork.
I know, that's the one thing, and it was why I laughed so hard that you had a different God of War joke, and I'm like, I'm just thinking of the boy meme every time I look at AdMech.
I think when you get, like, silly Warhammer stuff, people will either go one of two ways. Like, it's so stupid, it's awesome, or it's so stupid, it's not awesome.
Yeah.
And Warhammer rides that line really hard.
Warhammer doesn't ride that line. It skips back and forth over it like a toy.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is fun.
All right, what's next?
Let's not just talk about pure bangers the whole way through here. Let's talk about one of my least favorite arts on any codex cover, Drukhari.
I knew what this was before you even started saying it.
I hate this cover.
Look at her. It's like she got hit with Gmod ragdoll physics, and she's like, wee!
Every single time I look at this art, and from what I remember, I think there's an expanded, like, there's more to this art in a direction. And when you look there, you're like, this isn't bad art. But when you look at the centerpiece area of this art, she's weightless in a bad way. It doesn't show grace. It shows like she's in 0G.
And doesn't know how to actually do it. This is like your training course of zero G.
She's halfway through swinging her sword 5 miles from anybody. It drives me nuts. And it's not just my hatred of which part of the army. I know that someone out there will be like, you just like homunculus covens and hate witches. But like,
I mean, you do.
it's true. But you could do good witch art. I've seen it. I really love the Sisters vs. Drukhari Lilith art.
That art always makes me laugh because the Palatine that's fighting with Lilith is like so dead.
Yeah.
Like it's not even a question. She is going to be mulched.
She's got like a 301 melee profile.
Yeah, and she's like just like, oh, I'm gonna engage in close range fisticuffs with Lilith Hesperax. Like, girl, are you insane? I will give the Drukhari art one thing. I like all the raiders flying down. That's kind of neat.
I enjoy that aspect. I like the color palette a lot too. The orange turquoise thing that's going on plays well with Drukhari's canon, whichever Cabal I'm thinking of's color scheme.
I think that big black blot on the top should just be removed, and it should just stay orange all the way through.
That's worse on the, so 9th edition had the like deluxe covers or whatever that were like the day one only covers, and they all swapped the Warhammer from the top to the bottom for some reason, but all of the tops is empty space on these arts because they knew a logo banner was supposed to be there. It's hideous when you look at the Drukhari one. I think Space Wolves is the other one where it looks horrendous, but because it is like truly black space up there, it is the opposite of what you want on that cover.
Holy shit.
Oh my god, it's literally just nothing.
The art ends and they just...
It's just like... Oh, space is black, right? they're coming from space.
It's fair. It's correct for the framing they were probably given of like keep the top 15% blank because there's going to be a logo there. So they just, fill it in with some background details for all the arts. But when you got to the promo versions of these, I think it was them and Space Wolves. It was jarring how bad it was.
With Drukhari, there is interesting things that you can do, and they tried with all the boats, but I think they failed.
I really just hate the main character of this one so much.
You know what's even worse? In that cover art specifically, the one collector's one, the one right below her butt is doing the exact same thing, almost worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no fluidity in this animation at all, and it's I go full on D for Drukhari.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Eric, what do we want to talk about?
Let's do Death Guard.
While I think Grey Knights manages to be one of the top factions for power armor for the Imperium, Chaos just gets so many W's that I put Death Guard in like high A, maybe someone could argue me up to S, and they're not even my favorite of the remaining Chaos ones.
I give Death Guard a clean A. I don't think it reaches S territory, but it gets a clean A.
All right, we can put it right below your beloved IG.
What do you think, Eric? You seem to have a different opinion.
I think you guys are right with it being an A. It doesn't sell Death Guard to me other than like there's that green splotch.
That I totally agree with.
It's not the plague. I should be fucking disgusted, and I'm not.
Yeah, that gets into like, because it's Morty, it's just canon Morty, and he's not that like grotesque and half of dead. You can do that with non-named characters. What if you put him next to Blood Angels and the smoke that's going off the left side is becoming their whole background? Does it feel more Death Guardy?
It would, yeah. It honestly would to me. Like, it would have this, like, oh, he's like turning this planet into a plague, you know?
I gotta say, my key thing is it does everything the Eldar cover does to help with the direction of big main character above all minions, but it does it while making him feel like part of the structure, while having the excuse of wings to do it. I love that aspect so much. It nails what all the Space Marines were trying to do slightly better than how Grey Knights managed to do it without the wings.
Yeah, I'm on board.
So there is a Death Guard like wallpaper art, and they go like with this much heavier like rustic machinery vibe. That sells it to me way more.
Yeah, with like the swampy, that's gross, but it's also not like, the hard thing about disgusting gross on a cover is people don't want to see disgusting gross stuff just when they're walking by.
Yeah, you can't go too far.
Yeah, but like this is you're glancing by, you don't, it's like, oh yeah, that's whatever. Then you look at it and you're like, oh, ugh. Ugh.
Yeah, the longer you look at it, the worse it becomes. Like whenever I think of Death Guard, I think of like Point Lookout in Fallout 3, like an old ferryman swamp.
Yeah,
we used this exact art as a background in a YouTube episode, and while I was reviewing it for Berilio, while he was panning across this, I was getting lost at the background details, and I remember falling in love with the background in this art. Like, it's not even like the part of it that you're supposed to care about. It's such a good piece.
Can I argue Death Guard to like the bottom of A?
All right, we can put them below Necrons, but above Grey Knights.
Fine.
I just think it does literally Grey Knights slightly better.
I agree it's not bad, especially when you're showing me like this other stuff that like, yeah, in comparison, that's just way better of a Death Guard look.
Do you know what I just thought of? We're now 70% through this episode, so no one in the audience who is going to be the cause for this is still watching us. I imagine someone who's half paying attention, sees Bricky's name, clicks on video, zooms over to the final results, seeing tier list for codexes, sees Death Guard, Grey Knights, Necrons all in A, and is like, these guys are fucking idiots.
Is that because that's all of your guys' stuff?
No, it's because Necrons was a famously bad codex, Death Guard was a famously bad codex in 9th.
Oh, you're referring to power-wise. Yeah, oh, yes.
If someone didn't realize what the episode actually was about, I can already see, Drukhari were broken for half the edition. Why are they in D tier?
Why are Tyranids in B tier? They were like insanity. Well, these last 4.
This is an interesting one. I think I despise 2 and love 2, and I think I can say that, and you may have a different ones than me.
So I like 1, adore 2, and I'm lukewarm on 1.
Okay. Which one do you want to discuss first?
You know what? I'm curious. Let's do K-Suns.
This is, without a doubt, S tier. It is, other than Chaos Space Marines because they just got the best art, it is the best Chaos art. It is so good.
I disagree, but I do agree with S tier. I think it is absolutely S tier. I love all the eyeballs on the cape, which is the coolest thing ever. The Thousand Suns helmets with the weird flowy sorcery crap all over it, and especially the background. The background, oh.
Have you seen the expanded art too?
Oh yeah, it looks so good. K-Suns is very, very good. It's not my favorite outside of CSM, but I try not to judge it on the full art.
I agree. It has to be for the codex. The full art is possibly my favorite art of any of these for the expanded full art, but it is so good. I will say that the codex's crop is still good, but it lacks some of what makes this feel so awesome. I want to put it above Dark Angels, but I'm not sure if you guys will let me.
What do you think, Eric?
It's below AdMech probably, even with my bias.
Yeah.
I will not allow you to put it above AdMech.
No. It's wrong.
I don't like the, how do I say this? The background halo aspect.
Lighting him up, yes.
It doesn't make any damn sense to me, even in the extended one.
Warp fuckery.
It sounds like Zinch is doing his job.
Yeah, I have no problem with abstract backgrounds around Thousand Suns. That is like key.
And that's why I'm saying I'm having troubles explaining it. And that's because I think it's the core white that then goes into the green, blue thing, whatever color that is.
It would make more sense if it was blue, but that would kill the cover art portion and thus look worse, actually, even though it would probably feel better.
It would feel more like what I would expect, but it would look worse. So, yeah, I'm not an art person, and explaining art terms is difficult.
Oh, yeah, we're all going to get roasted when actual people who understand art come here.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I want it zoomed out just a little bit more to add the
gunfire portion,
so that you can actually get that front gun profile, because one thing that I value more than most people probably do is having perspective lines follow the same parallel, like here's a perspective and it all matches, and like his hand giving off the like lightning psychicness follows where you would expect that first gun to be, kind of like,
oh, they're both pointing it near the same object. Okay,
like they're pointing towards a direction that makes sense, and you don't really get that from the codex. But yeah, I mean, it's still good.
I have to give props to the artist for finding a way to take Thousand Suns with their infinite trim and find a way to somehow invent more of it that isn't even there on the official over-trimmed models.
I agree. They literally have their trim coming off of their bodies.
I love it. I love the art style of this. I love his gigantic cape that's like infinitely flowing.
The color of the cape, the like ruby magenta mixed with the clean white filled with goddamn eyeballs is super cool. I like it a lot.
S tier somewhere, but wherever.
Yeah, just below AdMech.
I gotta know, Bricky. I feel like you said something pretty sus here. I knew that would get you. You're so easy.
Wow.
Why do you have your fucking sound effect board?
I use a Rodecaster Pro 2.
Use fucking streamer.
Anyway, you were saying.
Do not tell Berilio how to buy one of those, or our episodes will look like your streams.
Well, I don't see a problem with that. Anyway, what's the sus thing you were going to say, you sussy sus man?
I said they were my favorite non-Chaos Space Marines. Chaos. We've only got one left, and you said no. World Eaters?
Yeah, I think World Eaters are better.
Oh my god, I have them super low.
I love the World Eaters Codex.
Oh my god, I hate this thing.
So okay, remember when you were talking about the Admech Boy thing?
Yeah.
This to me is just other versions of Admech Boy across the entire codex, and it's so over the top that I find it incredibly endearing.
He's so chunky.
Yeah, he works out.
No, not that kind. He looks just like the Votan guy.
No, he doesn't. Look at the fucking
he does
arms.
not. He is Zangief wide.
They took off his black carapace too, to take it all off so that he could look like he's got a normal human arm, just so that they could show you that he's not fat and they were trying to draw muscle.
Every single complaint you have in this method strengthens me more.
I'm with Bricky on this one.
Why is the one guy Mini Angron up front?
So real quick, I just uploaded the full art like we talked about with K-Suns.
Oh, the full art's way better. Holy shit. Why didn't they use the other half?
Look at it. You get Angron for one in the top left. You get my favorite character in every Codex art, which is Axe Face McGee on the left. Whatever the hell that thing is.
Just use the left half. GW, you already paid for this art. Just use the left half of this art on your next codex. It's better.
I love the World Eaters art. It's much like World Eaters, too much in every single aspect where it goes. It's like, I think of like Dota. It's everything is overpowered, so nothing is.
Sure.
I think it's S tier above K-Suns.
I'm on board with Bricky on this one. Like, it's World Eaters. It's so over the top. It's so fucking stupid. It's cool.
Like the pile of already bleached skulls covering their feet.
They brought it with them, right?
Of the many problems, I will never give Korn the perfectly bleached skulls as a problem. It's so classic.
And then you have the 8-bound dude doing the kiss face.
Is that what he's supposed to be up front? He's supposed to be an 8-bound?
Yeah, he's an 8-bound.
I can't tell. He looks like Angron. But the 8-pound just look like jacked up dudes. I hate that model, which is a whole different thing. But I hate the lore behind that model too. But
I love it. There is nothing about this artwork that I don't think is hilarious in a great way.
Why on the left side is that an arco-flagellant? Did he get mixed up and turned around?
Oh, it's a jackal.
It was a sister's joke.
I know, but you were wrong, so...
So ignored it. Yeah, that's how you finish that.
So, like, this artwork to me is like the artwork definition of Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
I will give you that.
It's just so stupid. It's amazing.
You guys are arguing it up, but like you're arguing it up from D to A maybe. I still think it's below Grey Knights.
I think it's top of A.
I think it's better than K-Suns.
I'm not letting you go that high with it.
I will accept that I won't let you go above K-Suns.
Will you put it with Chaos Knights?
I will not allow it to not be an S tier.
All right.
Or okay, I'll give you top of A.
I'll let it be the thing right in front of Chaos Knights. It's much higher than I would personally put it, but you're both up in S tier land.
It's up there. It's bottom S, top A somewhere. It's so dumb and cool.
I'm okay with top of A.
I like it as like the gatekeeper of like...
You want to enter S, you have to enter through us.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that Chaos Knight could do it. You just chop these boys. Bzz.
Angron is literally in that cover.
Angron's gonna be having to roll 3 6s.
As someone who's fought a lot of World Eaters, it's not that hard.
I know. I really like World Eaters from a gameplay standpoint. I've never been a fan of World Eaters art, and this art I hate more than most. I really like the left half now that I've seen the full picture, but we're not judging off of the stuff that's not on the picture.
Right.
I mean, the whole art is super cool.
I will give you, as soon as you added the left half, I like this a lot more. Also, I feel like the digital version of this versus the actual physical codex cover here, the digital one is cleaner and is less washed out. I like that better because like the red is redder versus the orange, because that's one of my problems is this is a very monocolor codex art.
But it's World Eaters.
I like it more because it's monocolored, which is just singular direction.
Okay, we're going for Gruul Smash. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're just misinformed on the objective.
The main
Fair
guy has an axe called Gore Child. I refuse to accept your statements.
Fair enough.
All right, I guess I've forgotten about it for long enough. Genestealers is still a thing.
He remembered.
Yeah. One of these days, it'll be so ingrained, it'll just always be on the tip of my tongue.
I'm 50-50 on what Bricky's going to say.
Ooh.
You said one of the two left is mid. I think of the two left, Genestealers is an S tier cover, beautiful design philosophy. It's wonderful in every grotesque way. And I think Sisters is terrible. I'm really hoping you're not a fan of this Sisters cover right now.
But you know me and my sister's bias.
You can't have it above Genestealers.
You think Genestealers is awesome?
It's a wonderful cover.
No.
I'll give you I'll give you both right now. Sisters is bottom of B.
Okay.
But maybe above Votan for principle.
Sure.
And Genestealer Cult is a clean S tier.
Thank God. Thank God. All right.
I think it's right below Admech, actually.
Ooh, it's such a beautiful stylized. Oh, I love it so much.
It's incredible in every way. I particularly love the giant statue being dragged down by the wires in the background.
My favorite part is the gross fat jowls, like the bald guy. Oh.
Yeah, the main lady, the Magus or whatever it's called.
It's so gross and doony. Like, it's beautifully done. I love it. This art is disgusting. Every person on this art is disgusting, and I love them.
Yeah, they look like the army of inbred aliens.
Unfortunately for Guard, they look similarly close to that man in the front cover.
I mean, hey, it could be. We don't know.
Where do you want to put it in S tier?
I mean, it's got to be like the bottom.
I like it more than K-Suns, but...
I'll give you that.
No way. Come on.
I think it and Admech are so same amazing art style. Oh, they're very good.
I guess I just don't get Genestealers because I think it's fine, but the best part is the background, and I don't even like the color.
To me, it's the creep show.
I love the artwork too much. If we want to go bottom of S to give you a little bit of it, that's fine.
A lot of my problems with, like, you're saying it's gross and stuff is, like, it's not the kind of gross that actually intrigues me. There needs to be more extreme body horror going on other than just the faces are kind of ripped apart.
That gets in the whole Genestealers isn't that, though.
Yeah.
And I agree, that could be more fun, but it's just not how Genestealers function lore-wise.
I like the inbred hick family
Yes.
in the woods coming to murder you on a galactic scale.
The hills have eyes.
It is right. The hills have eyes, but in a miners uprising kind of thing. I don't know what it is. It's so unique, but I love the color. I love just the gigantic Baron Harkonnen double chin of the lady there.
Yes.
It's great.
It's so good. All right, so Sisters, thank God. I was so worried.
Sisters really suffers from new unit syndrome.
It's a shame. Like, they have such character, and it's such a boring cover. I don't think it's a bad cover. It's just boring.
It's like Tau for me.
I mean, it's not that bad.
To me, it is. I think Sisters has so much potential, and it's the same exact thing of, like, yeah, I look at it and I get the tin. I'm in agreement it's Sisters, but I just don't care.
I can't put it below Space Wolves, though.
I just uploaded the old Sisters 8th edition art. This art screams Sisters with the cherubs and the gigantic braziers and the generally like kind of ugly warrior looking sisters. Like it's...
Yeah, they're not pretty ladies. They're people that are trying to destroy chaos.
I love that a lot.
Yeah, if you had this frame, this would be CSM tier to me.
It's kind of the same color palette, same layout, but just way better done. But I think that's why I'm not a fan of this. I would take it down to C if you're good with it. I feel a little weird putting it below Space Wolves. Can we have it be the top thing in C so it's not below Space Wolves?
I think the main girl on the front carries it a little too much to be C.
I mean, but it can't be bottom of B then.
No, it cannot be bottom of B. Votan will stay there for the joke.
Okay. Votan can be the lowest of B.
I actually think Votan is better than Sisters personally, but I
but it's
can't.
Funnier.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's just got a lot of problems. Sisters one. I don't like the big chunky paragon to the right. It also doesn't scream like zealot.
Yeah, that's my problem. Is like there's so much iconography that you can add that the picture that you showed is like, oh yeah, they're zealots that are doing rituals while they're in the battlefield kind of thing.
I need like the Dialogus, the lady with like the loud hailer and the giant tapestry of scripts as she's screaming hymns across the battlefield. Like I need.
Oh, I thought you meant the Dogmatum, like the most boring model.
Oh, the dog. No, not that one. The lady who's yelling.
I remembered.
Like that just screams sisters to me. Or like even the Exorcist tank in the background would have been nice.
Holy shit, if they had the tank, the same exact art, put the tank as the background, and I'd be like, yeah, that's a B tier, solid. Maybe let's look at A, but it doesn't. It's just boring to me.
One last thing, what actually I like a lot, one that I think is really good, and you guys are big Magic people, and I'm not, but this one of the magic art they did for the Triumph of St. Catherine, age 17. Like this one, just much more. I mean, this is obviously magic card art, so it's not quite, it won't translate as well to a codex.
But same kind of idea.
This sells sisters perfectly.
That set had so many good arts in it too. We abuse that for getting safe arts to use for the show all the time. That set has been a godsend for 40k art.
Oh, the magic arts, especially for Necrons, have been.
There's so many factions where you don't understand how many factions have so few official arts, at least digitally. Some of them have ancient arts that are in a codex from the mid-90s and have never been put anywhere online to use. It drives me mad coming from the Magic community, where I can pull up every art from Magic history in beautiful full definition within 2 seconds.
And who drew it.
And who, yes, everyone with Illustrator credits and everything.
Wizard of the Coast don't have a lot of love for them, but at least they did that.
They earned that over GW for sure. Yeah, it's one of the things Magic has always and will always do best is art.
And it doesn't have to be a weak point for GW, though. Like, there are good arts, like CSM. That's a fantastic codex. But there's even more in the codexes as well. And they can continue to invest in that and make it like a strength. Like instead of just being like, yeah, there's some good stuff. It could be like, oh yeah, go to Warhammer 40k for some cool ass shit. Fucking art, man.
Have you guys seen the Iron Warrior's cursed gun in the CSM codex?
No, post it if you can. I don't know. My CSM codex is in my brother's basement, so I won't be getting that one out.
It is so funny. It is in the official Iron Warrior section of the CSM codex. But if you zoom in, look at the gun. It's the funniest thing.
Look at the man's face. The fucking face is amazing.
Oh, it's so good. But like his weapon has multiple chainsaw stabbing implements. It has a tiny little magazine in the way front while it is being belt fed at the bottom.
I didn't notice the magazine in the front.
And it has a red flamer tank in the center. It is the most.
Until you started pointing out it's being loaded by multiple.
It's the strangest thing I have ever seen. And I love it. It's like the World Eaters Codex for me. I just adore it.
Okay.
It's sheer insanity, but like you can play into that and do it well.
I keep looking at that guy's face. He's so happy to be here.
He's giving me this big like, ah.
He's so happy about this gun.
It's just a skull. It's not even his face. It's just a skull.
Guys, look at what I made.
Oh,
it's your average soldier on deployment duct taping guns together. This is what happens in a barracks.
Anyway, how are we feeling about the tier list?
I'm pretty good with where everything's sitting right now. I would move Chaos Demons even lower, and I would probably say Blood Angels from D, but maybe the comments agree with you all, and I'm the lone man thinking it's a good art.
I mean, I think we came to reasonable agreements on most things, at least roughly.
I'm kind of shocked that I am in full agreements that Orks is in dead bottom now.
The more I looked at it, the worse it became. Once I figured out that ditch when it came to the side, I just...
The more you analyze it, the more you don't like it.
It also looks like it's low res. Like it looks like it's just improper resolution.
Yeah, I don't know what of it is the cause of the digital one I'm looking at. The Orc Codex is literally at my brother's house. I couldn't grab the official one. I don't know if the actual art is better than the one that's on the cover. Like with the World Eaters, where the World Eaters looks cleaner, not for the cover.
World Eaters is amazing, and you are wrong.
I will give you that full art World Eaters is many notches higher than I had the original. The color is better. The left half is way better than the right half they focused on. I feel like if the main guy was better, I would hate it a lot less. Tiny Angron is still weird to me.
He's dual wielding chain axes. Your opinion is invalid.
You could have a guy dual wielding chain axes, but make him look better.
He is not like the Votann guy. He is like that because his abs are gigantic.
Sure. Okay.
Anyway, I'm actually really happy with the list. I think it came out pretty well.
Yeah, we actually got a good curve out of it too. I'm impressed whenever that happens.
What's even better is that this will be accurate all the way through 10th edition.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. Let's hope Tyranids was a slip up. I really hope we have to redo this in a couple of years.
I mean, I'm not happy that the Space Marine one is still just old art.
It's still promo art from last edition, yeah.
So long as it's different. Like if they use that red Voton art we looked at earlier as the main cover, like I wouldn't hate that.
But having two different codexes with the same art is infuriating when you have both of them.
And the worst part is, it's not like what we're complaining about has never happened before. It's literally 7th to 8th edition. They just reused all the arts again. So like, that's the infuriating part, is knowing how likely it is they'll do the lazy way out and not even switch arts they already own.
I guess we'll have to find out. Any closing remarks?
I think that about does it. Again, if you want to toss us the YouTube pleasantries or whatever, helps out. Check out our merch. Now we can truly sell out.
Hey, absolutely. Split a good deal. Rep yourself some Poorhammer merchandise.
And again, Simps in the audience, make sure you go over to Patreon and get your discount. You already give us enough. So everyone here in our audience already knows Bricky. YouTube has told me as much.
But just in case...
Do you want to tell everyone where they can find your amazing shows?
Oh my goodness. I can't help it. You could find me at Bricky or at Adeptus Ridiculous or at Dice Check. All right, that's it. I've had my time.
I was really expecting this 5 minute
Nah, I feel awkward whenever I'm on another person's channel doing that kind of stuff. So I'm just like, Bricky, I'm good.
All right, that does it for this week, though. Thanks for joining us, Bricky. And I guess let's get out of here for the week.
Sounds good.